Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, April 29th. Mixed, but ultimately muted. Markets ended near flat yesterday, but all three major indices did make up ground following afternoon lows. The Dow and the S&P 500 notched winning sessions. The Dow picking up 114 points, or just more than 0.25%. The S&P 500 added just 3 points, or 0.06%, to extend its winning streak. The Nasdaq closed in the red, down 16 points, or 0.1%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. The S&Ps are flat. I mean, they're fluctuating between gains and losses. We're currently a little higher, up 0.01%. But we were down over 0.1% this morning. So, this is kind of positive. It looks like we could have a green opening. But the key news story or key event, out there, a key headline is really about the Trump administration, as they're apparently preparing to lower tariffs on some auto parts, which is really good for the automobile sector. Earnings remain the key focus for the day. This morning, Pfizer, Honeywell, Hilton Hotels, UPS, they're all trading higher after their earnings releases. But after the bell today, Visa, Starbucks, Mondelez, are all scheduled to report first quarter earnings. And, the whole, week, I mean, the next few days, there's just a flood of first quarter earnings releases from U.S. and international companies that you got to keep an eye on. On the economic front, today you get the consumer confidence data. You also get the jobless, the JOLTs report coming out. It's a big week for employment data, so we have to wait and see how the market reacts to those two reports. Looking overseas this morning, you're looking at Germany. Germany's trading higher by 166 points, or 0.75%. You're seeing some, positive action in autos as as they talk up the lowering of tariffs in auto parts sector. That's positive for Germany and France. London was lower, but it's now higher by 26 points, or 0.31%. It's really about the latest round of earnings reports. The CAC is trading slightly lower. It's down 0.18%. But the bank stocks are higher, and sentiment is being supported by news about the pending decrease in tariffs for the auto parts, which are used in U.S. manufactured vehicles. That's all positive. We're taking a look last night at Asia. Now, Japan was closed. Japan had a holiday, but the Nikkei, but the Hang Seng Index did finish with a gain of 36 points. Positive actions we've seen in autos and financial and tech stocks. And then you look at the Shanghai, which did finish lower by 0.05%, which is really flat to lower. And the market's just unclear, with respect to the if there are any talks going on between the Trump administration and China. And later this week, we get the PMI data coming out from China, and that's going to be a key report to show about the economic health of the country. Turning our attention over to oil, and oil is trading lower, down about 1.5%. You get WTI at $61.14. You get Brent at $64.79. I mean, listen, we're walking into a situation where OPEC's hiking production, and we're doing this in an environment where demand is expected to fall. That typically will lower oil prices. So we are seeing lower oil prices this morning. We'll see if that trend continues during the day. And that's what I have for you in terms of morning market update, Emily.
Bill, you did say that a key catalyst for the markets is earnings action, continuing to watch a number of reports from a number of large U.S. companies. So we will jump in there. We'll start with earnings action. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings?
Got to start off with Coca-Cola, ticker KO, Kilo Oscar. They beat by a penny. They did on lower revenue, but the stock's trading up over 1% this morning. Honeywell, ticker HON, Henry Oscar Nancy. They beat by 30 cents. They did that on higher revenue. That stock's up 3.93% this morning. And Pfizer beat by 24 cents, lower revenue. But the stock's trading higher by 0.69%. So that's all positive. Upcoming after the bell today, we got Visa, ticker V, as in Victor. Their EPS is $2.68. Expected move is 4.26%. You have Starbucks, ticker SBUX, Sam Boy, Uncle X-Ray. Their EPS is 49 cents. Expected move is 7.73%. And Snap, ticker S&amp, Sam, Nancy, Apple, Paul. They're also releasing after the bell today. Their EPS is 4 cents with an expected move of 19.44% when they release today, Emily.
There's a number of reports to be keeping track of there. And speaking of reports to be keeping track of, economic events, there's a few on that front that are worth noting. So, Bill, give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
Okay, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we got an international trading goods. It's an advanced figure. 9 a.m., you get the Case-Shiller Home Price Index. At 10 a.m., you get the consumer confidence data from the Confidence Board. And then at 10 a.m., we get the JOLTs report coming out. Now, if you look at yesterday, we had the Dallas Fed survey on Texas manufacturing outlook, and that was rather negative. Business activity fell 20 points. That's our lowest reading since May of 2020. Not good for that data, but I think we're going to see a lot of that upcoming. But it didn't really affect the markets too much, as we did see gains yesterday for the most part. And in terms of Fed speak, they're on blackout, so there's not going to be any Fed speak today or all of this week. But that's what I have for you in terms of an economic update, Emily.
You're going to be watching those earnings reports and the economic reports all using your NewsWare. You have an earnings alert, you have an economic events alert. You also have alerts set up for other types of data, news, and information, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. You're also able to group stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Just doing a quick data check and look at my Dow stocks. I got 5 lower and 25 higher. That's a nice way to start off the day. And then the FANG stocks are mixed. Little weakness in Google, Meta, and Netflix, but everything else is trading higher. So that's kind of nice. In terms of news in the tape, Apple and Xiaomi are questioned by India's regulators in the Amazon Flipkart probe. Amazon appears to have launched 27 satellites into space. It's working to create a worldwide access for an internet option to really compete with Starlink, Elon Musk's service. In terms of Dow Jones News, in terms of Dow Jones News, Dow Jones 30 stocks, we're talking Merck, ticker MRK. They're going to spend $1 billion on a new factory in the U.S. To make supplies of its blockbuster drug. Microsoft, ticker MSFT, their relationship is being strained with the CEO of OpenAI. They got some real disagreements going on over there. In terms of guidance news, Coca-Cola, ticker KO, they backed their 2025 adjusted EPS to 2 to 3% growth versus what they earned last year, which was $2.88 in 2024. Honeywell sees Q2 adjusted EPS coming in 260 to 270. The street estimate was 221, so that's an uptick. Brinker International, that's ticker EAT, Elvis, Apple, Tom. They see full year 2025 EPS coming in $8.50 to $8.75. Street estimate had it at $8.47. That's an uptick. In terms of shareholders meetings today, American Express, ticker AXP, they're holding a virtual shareholders meeting today at 9 a.m. And Citibank, ticker C, they're also having a shareholders meeting today, virtual at 9 a.m. In terms of buyback news, ticker TER, Tom, Edward, Richard, Teradyne, they announced a $1 billion stock repurchasing plan. And that's what I have for you in terms of news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
Going with Visa, ticker V. Earnings are out after the bell. EPS is $2.69. Expected move is 4.26%. Look at yesterday's call volume. It wasn't necessarily positive. 12,619 calls traded at 15,028 puts. Open interest is positive, though, 162K versus 125K. So, that's positive. But what I really like is the major brokers have been raising price targets, and they still have strong opinions on the stock. And if you look at what the bank said earlier this year, the consumer is really holding up. So I expect Visa to come up with a decent report, after the bell today. In terms of getting in, I'm going to say 336.75 to 337.25 is an entry price. That would mean it would move a little weaker sometime after the open, but I do like Visa, ticker V, and that's my pick of the day, Emily.
Visa, it is on an earnings play there, and you did have an earnings play yesterday. We're going to check in to see how that call worked out before we sign off today. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
PYPL, Paul Yellow Paul Larry, PayPal says it's making strides in crypto. Crypto's moving higher this morning. NVAX, they added Charles Newton to their board of directors as an independent director. HIMS, HIMS, the short sellers are getting squeezed today. Why? Because, NVO, Nancy Visser-Oscar, they said that they're going to be working with some distributors for delivery of their Wegovy weight loss drug. That's causing Novo to trade higher this morning. J as in Jacobs, they awarded a contract from the U.S. General Services Administration. Positive. MasterCard, ticker MA, invests $300 million in CorePlay, expands its partnership. JetBlue's trading lower this morning, ticker JBLU. They are being sued by American, because they canceled that agreement that you had. But that was because of federal regulators. So I don't think anything's going to happen. Alibaba, ticker BABA, they introduced Quinn 3, which set a new benchmark in OpenAI source code with hybrid reasoning. Could be something there. That's all I'm saying this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we get to trading today, let's do a quick check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Cisco. Now, the company did release earnings this morning just a few moments ago. They reported a Q3 EPS of 96 cents. That was 7 cents below the analyst estimates. Revenue for the quarter came in at $19.6 billion, and that was also below estimates of $20.12 billion. For full year 2025, the guidance now includes expected sales growth of approximately 3% and adjusted EPS growth of at least 1%. The company did also say it remains on target to return approximately $2.25 billion back to shareholders in full year 2025 with share repurchase and dividends. Sort of a flat report here. The stock was a little bit flat. Bill, how did your call work out?
Yeah, it was kind of flat. I mean, the fact of the matter is stock opened up at $70.83. It ran to $71.49, but closed at $70.42. So yeah, I didn't love this one. And then this morning after the weaker earnings, the stock's trading lower. So it was not a winner. But it wasn't a bad pick. It wasn't a bad call. But that's why it didn't really come through for me yesterday, Emily.
And it could have been worse there, Bill. And we will check in with you, see if Visa comes through today with that pick of the day. We'll check in with you tomorrow on that. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.